Welcome to TTF, Two Tone Football. This is the show where we cover Dallas Cowboys, Detroit Lions, and we also have weekly picks and the weekly roundup for Tuesdays and Fridays. My name is Rocky. I cover all Dallas Cowboys content media. I'm joined with my co-host James, who covers the Detroit Lions and everything in the North. We have a very special show today. As you can tell, we have a third bubble on the screen. Our special guest today, we're joined with Zion. He is not only my younger brother, he shares the good looks. He's also a very good longtime friend of me and James as well. And
Yeah,
he's been a long time diehard Chiefs fan. Can't break it, It's just stuck in my code. He's been a
it's in the
long time
blood.
Chiefs fan. Been there for the dark ages. Um, and he's probably has a higher IQ, understands football more than me and James combined. This dude knows game, and his IQ is really crazy. Can't beat him in Madden. I don't think many can. It's very tough to beat this dude. Um, and this is Zion.
Oh well, what an intro, man! I appreciate that. But it's good to be here. I appreciate y'all having me on the show. I'm kind of excited. I was looking forward to this, so I'm pretty hyped.
Oh yeah, so Zion, would you mind just telling us a little bit about some of your Chiefs knowledge? I noticed you guys are currently 2-3.
Yeah, it's been rough. It's been a rough year for sure. Not the best, not the most ideal. Just injuries right now at the wide receiver position are kind of. Just one in particular with like Rashi or the suspension, I guess. Xavier Worthy getting hurt on the third play of the game, and so that kind of. And then now he's back, but he's something's wrong with him, so he's not fully 100%.
Well, he had
And
a
so,
Ford F-150 ram right into his leg.
fucking
In
hell,
all, in
dude.
all fair, in all fairness,
Yeah.
um, okay, but what Rashi comes back this week, next week?
Next week, yeah. So his suspension will be up next week, so he'll be able to
Gotcha.
practice and everything. I imagine they'll get him up to speed, but from everything I'm hearing, he's 100%, and so he's 100% ready to go, and he's able to return to the team facility. I think after like 4 weeks or 5 weeks, and so he's back in the rooms and stuff, but he can't practice yet until the suspension's up. So next week we should get him back and everything, and so I'm excited. We definitely need him for sure. Uh, I
Not
think I
only
saw
that,
today somebody
fantasy
called him like,
managers too. My bad,
"Oh, I
Zion.
know, no, you're good, you're good."
Anyone in fantasy out there who needs
Oh, I
Rashi.
know. Yeah, no, I'm 100% with that. I can't wait for him to come back, Doug. I'm also like 2-3 in fantasy, so it's rough. It's a rough hire. Go. But yeah, it should be hopefully a good matchup this week. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how Kansas City can try to stop the two-headed monster that is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs, and so that'll be good
James
and fun to
just
watch.
sitting there like little Palpatine in his chair.
Yep, just relaxing here, just mastermind over here. Yeah, I think Zahn hit it right on the head. Is how will the Chiefs stop the two-headed dragon? The Sonic and Knuckles combo. And as a Detroit fan, that's what I want to see. I want to see them be a big part of the offense and get that run game started. Once we get the run game started, that really opens up the play action ability over the middle against the Chiefs. And I've noticed that the Chiefs really struggle against guarding the tight end. So having Sam Laporta out there, one of the best tight ends right now in the league, he can make those plays into the middle or to the outside once we get the run game established. What do you think, Sam? Is that
No,
what?
yeah, 100%. Notoriously, Kansas City has always really, really struggled with tight ends, and so they kind of develop sort of a recipe, like almost like a band-aid, where it's like we just bring in someone like Tyrann Mathieu or Eric Berry beforehand or Justin Reed, these safeties that can kind of cover these bigger guys and just put them there and hope for the best. But without that this year, missing Justin Reed is a big, Kansas City's really feeling it. And so it's just going to take time to kind of get these younger guys up to that level to where they can cover some of these guys like Sam Laporta. And so, yeah, and the Chiefs linebackers, they're not really too proficient in pass coverage. That's definitely not their strong suit. I think they got all these big guys who can kind of stop the run, you know, plug all these gaps and stuff. And so I think it ultimately comes down to if these linebackers can't do something like that against that two-headed monster.
Yeah, that's tough too, man. I think how's Kansas City dealing injury wise? Anybody out with health? Anyone that you're missing? Anyone fully healthy over there?
So I haven't seen anything yet. I usually try to wait until kickoff time because you never quite know exactly who's on the injury report and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as I could tell, I seen one earlier that was kind of like everybody's practicing. I think some people weren't due to just kind of resting them,
Mhm.
like Xavier Worthy and stuff like that. And so
How's Xavier Worthy's injury coming along?
hopefully good, man. Yeah, hopefully good. I'm hoping that yeah, they had Xavier Worthy as a full participant and stuff. And so my guess is that it's coming along pretty good. I think they want to just limit him a little bit, and I'm all for it. I don't want to lose Xavier Worthy before we get Rice back, and then, I mean, we got all these wide receivers, and they have never touched the field together. Rice, Worthy, and Brown have not played it all together, and so it's like
Oh, man.
Do you
it's
think
tough.
that's what's been the biggest struggle with the Chiefs is you're just missing kind of that trio out there?
Yeah, and it's kind of something that Andy Reid, at least I've seen that he does, is he kind of builds game plans around a player and then evolves from there. And I think that's why Worthy had such a big game when he came back. And then someone like Rashi Rice is able to thrive in the offenses because they kind of build these plays around him and kind of get him open and scheme him open and stuff. And so without that, and then it doesn't really work too well with some of these other wide receivers. I mean, Juju, he's good. He's more of a kind of what Kelsey is, where it's kind of like go find his own, sit there, get the ball, kind of a very possession receiver type of build, and Tyquan Thornton is just Xavier Worthy in the offense, and so it was like Xavier Worthy's back. Tyquan Thornton doesn't do that well, but then Worthy gets hurt last week kind of during the game, and then Tyquan Thornton has a big game, so it's like they kind of fill the same role, so it's a little hard with that. Um, I don't think anybody was expecting Hollywood Brown to be the number one or even number two guy. So he's just kind of there to fill that role. And so um, they're trying to lean on him to be that one guy. And it's just not working like it's
Just
supposed
not
to.
working out how they thought, right?
Yeah. And so hoping where they can get healthy, Rice can get back and they can kind of get this thing together. You know what I mean? And so Mahomes has somebody to throw the rock to.
Especially considering Detroit, they're having their secondary issues right now. So Terrion Arnold, right? He's
Yep,
yeah.
Terrion Arnold, it's still a mystery of how much time he's gonna miss.
Mhm.
Uh we're not sure if it's gonna be the entire season or if it's kind of just a 2 to 4 week issue. So
Gotcha.
that's still up in the air with Terry and Arnold. DJ Reed finally made his way onto the IR.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hamstring issue.
Oh,
He's gonna
bro,
be missing some time.
bro.
Khalil Dorsey, another corner, gone. He's
Oof.
uh he's he was listed out with a concussion and wrist issue. So
Oh, bro.
he's not gonna be there. Depth is it's starting to look thin now, right? Well,
Yeah.
it gets even worse. Kirby Joseph, our elite safety, is gonna be a game time decision.
Yeesh.
So that's right there, that's what 4 players I've listed.
Mhm.
And then Brian Branch had that MRI on his foot and ankle area. So he's not 100% either.
Oh, bro.
That looks that our secondary is starting to look a little depleted.
And how would you feel for, in your opinion, James, how do you think Kansas City Chiefs offense should approach attacking this defense?
Well, I think the Chiefs are probably going to get away early from the run game. You guys have struggled in the run game, but I don't think it's because you guys are going to struggle in the run game. it's going to be because you're finding success with throwing it to your receivers. So
Yeah,
I think that's where you're going to see a lot of the success on the Chiefs offense. What do you think, son?
yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with that. I think if there's any success, it's throwing the ball, and I don't think that has really anything to do with the lack of a run game. It's a lack of willing to run the ball, you know. And although it's Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, it's just like an inability to just commit to the run because there's times where you watch it and it's like Pacheco will have a really good run and you're like, oh wow, like we're getting this run game going, and then the Kareem Hunt will come in and do decent, and then that's just it. We're back to throwing the ball all the time. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is the leading rusher on the team right now, and
That's insane. Are you serious?
yeah, he's a leading rusher right now, and so it's just
Oh my
like,
God.
and Pacheco has his injuries, it's it's
Is
kind of
that
what we
because you
expected from
guys
Pacheco.
are playing from behind in games? Is why you think you throw a lot? Or is it just Andy Reid just develops a game plan where he doesn't want to throw, where he doesn't want to run as much and more
Yeah,
wants to put it on Pat's arm?
yeah, that's kind of all of it is just Andy Reid. He just loves passing the ball. He doesn't run too much. It's kind of been a thing, but when Kansas City has had success running the ball, it just makes Patrick's job so much easier. And
Yeah,
so it's like if he's willing to commit to it and stick with it, I mean, we don't also have the best running back room. I love Isaiah Pacheco, but he was a seventh round pick, and it's like he had that energy, that burst, that like anger, and then some of those injuries kind of slowed him down a little bit. And so it's like without that energy and that burst that he had when he was, a few years ago, it's kind of he isn't really running away from people. He's never been able to, but it's even less now, and so it's just enough to keep teams honest. And I feel like that's the problem is we're not doing that. We're not running the ball enough to keep the team honest and just kind of they're playing two safety shells and then that's just it. They're just sitting back there. And so yeah, I think that's kind of what the issue is as far as the run game. It's just a lack of trying. And so unless it's third and short, third and one, third and two, they kind of hand it to Kareem. But other than that, that's kind of been what the issue is with the run game for sure.
Oh man. Hearing these two different sides is so interesting, man. We're on a little side note. We're dead last in defense. So boys, I mean, to a degree, it could be on a greener side.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, Pacheco. Sorry, that was a little side note. Pacheco's
No,
been
no, you're good.
yeah, the injuries hurt, man. Considering I drafted Pacheco in the second round of fantasy, like 2 years ago? Was it
2 years
last
ago.
year?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt. That's when he got injured like week three or something.
Oh yeah, he broke his leg, I believe. It was a
Yeah,
bone
he
break of some
broke his
sort.
leg.
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah, that one
It
hurt.
was. It's just I don't know. It is pretty interesting. I mean, Brashawn Smith, I think is his first name, but Brashawn, I get trouble pronouncing it, but he's kind of taken over that late round running back thing, and he's, from what I can tell, 100% just receiving third down back kind of guy, almost like Jerk McKinnon was. I think you pointed that out when we were watching the game, and he's kind of got that burst, and so it's just, I think it's a lack of burst from Pacheco and Hunt that Smith brings into the lineup when he's just in there, and so I would love to see him get some more reps, definitely. And not just third down, hand him the ball, do some of these wide zones and stuff that Hunt and Pacheco are kind of struggling to do. It's a lot of power football right now. And so we're not really stretching anything horizontally, at least from what I've seen.
How would you say the Kansas City's offensive line? Would you say they're struggling more, or what's going on with your offensive line exactly?
I don't think it's been too bad. I haven't really looked up any stats or anything, but I think it's gotten
Right,
better. I
yeah.
think losing Joe Thuney obviously hurts.
Hmm.
But Kingsley Samatamia or something. I can't pronounce his last name, but he's doing pretty decent at left guard. He's holding up. Jawan Taylor, if he can just stop getting penalties, would be good. There's no issues with him,
Well,
and at least I've seen in terms of pass protection, it's all just penalties. He's
Dude,
good for 1 or 2 drives a
what
game,
was the
just tossing
stat
it.
where he was just like the most penalized player in the last like
In the
2 years or
league.
something? And the yeah, it was
Yeah,
insane. It was insane,
it's
bro. He
wild.
had more penalties than teams or so. It
Yeah,
was crazy.
yeah, he just can't stop getting penalties. And so we know going into the game, we're going to lose 1 or 2 drives to Jawan Taylor, false start, or he's lined up in the backfield. He's not lined up right, or he's going to hold. It's just wild. And they paid him a lot of money, a couple years ago. And he's a good tackle, man. Like you know, he's serviceable for sure. It's just he can't stop with the penalties. And that's just a big issue. And so, um, they've been pretty good. Josh Simmons is looking like the guy. He's
Baller.
looking like a great a
Yeah.
great pick. Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey will do their things.
Ballers.
And so it's there's been times where I've been watching and Mahomes has just had all day to throw the ball, and so
Yeah, I think to just piggyback off that, I think that's where you're going to see the Lions. They're going to bring more of a blitz heavy package, try to throw the timing off with Patrick Mahomes, and mostly if we can press on Kelsey too. We press up on Kelsey, bring a blitz package. I think it should be a very interesting game to watch if we see that. I
yeah.
think I think honestly it's just going to be a offensive shootout. What do you think, Zion?
I think it'll be almost similar to the Jags game where I think Kansas City will come out really really good. Um, they don't really play forward quarters really well. It's either they come out good and they fall off, kind of like what happened with the Jags, or they're down 17-0 and then make a comeback. And so I think they'll come out with a pretty decent game plan, but I think ultimately, I think the Lions will kind of similar to the Jags just catch heat, and then Kansas City will start falling apart. If Worthy can be healthy, then I think that could kind of mitigate some of that. But yeah, I'm hoping they could play a full 4 quarters of football, but we'll see.
How upsetting is that as a fan to watch your team come out and let's say dominate the first half and half of the third quarter, and then you watch the opponent turn it around? How
It
how
is.
how disappointing is that as a fan?
It's definitely. It's kind of give or take because there's been times where it's been the other way around. There's too many
Right.
times it's been the other way around, and so you kind of got to take the good with the bad in that sense. But it definitely does suck. I would prefer them to just come out hot and stay hot, the whole time. But um,
Would you
there's
say
been.
it's toaster worthy?
There it
Is this a
is.
thing? Is
There
this
it
a
Yes,
is
is.
this a
this
is
is
this
a
a
thing.
thing? Oh, okay.
This is
I
a
was not
thing.
aware of it.
We've been making jokes
What's the video of a toaster dive?
whenever our teams are
Dude.
bad that we're gonna go take a toaster bath.
Toaster watch. Toaster
Yeah.
So
watch.
are you saying as a Chiefs fan,
Yeah,
this is a toaster watch game?
definitely, definitely. I think Kansas City. I don't think they're as good a team as the Lions right now for sure. I honestly, and so it'll be Patrick Mahomes versus the Detroit Lions, and we'll see. But I think Mahomes has the ability to be like, I'm just not losing today, and just turn into Superman. But I think Kansas City has been leaning on that for too long, and it's starting to show. The cracks are starting to form for sure. But yeah, toaster moment for sure. Toaster moment. So
See, I'm not too familiar with the Chiefs defense. What's some superstars that you have on the Chiefs defense?
I think obviously it's like Chris Jones. I think he's been struggling a little bit, but Chris Jones is there. But I think the real hero of that defense is Trent McDuffie right now. I think it was blatantly obvious the Jaguars' game plan shifted when they stopped targeting Trent McDuffie. I mean, it was like I'm trying to remember off of memory here, but I think it was like 2 pass breakups and interception when targeting him. You know, it was just, and then they switched over to the other corner, Jalen Watson, and they just started targeting him, and their offense took off after that. They realized, what if we just stop throwing at Trent McDuffie? And their offense opened up for him. They just stopped targeting him. Outside of him, they're really trying to put the pieces together in that secondary with Jalen Watson, and they're rotating corners. Chamar Connor is kind of this hybrid safety slot guy who can blitz. Um, he can get exposed in coverage, and so it's stay away from Trent McDuffie. You'll kind of have that success. But George Karlaftis is a pretty good guy on the defensive line. I think he benefits a lot from the double teams that Chris Jones gets. But right now, for me, the unsung hero of the team is definitely Trent McDuffie, and I'm hoping he gets a little bit more credit as far as cornerbacks go in the league, because I do think he's in the top 10 for sure. That guy is insane. So, but yeah,
That's
and Nick,
awesome.
obviously, my bad. Nick Bolton as well. I can't got to include Nick Bolton, man. Just the general of the defense,
Right.
you know, struggles in a little bit of pass coverage, but just seems to always be around the ball, and so that's kind of what you want from your Mike guy. So
Yeah, then that Kansas City secondary too, man. Fucking here Cooks. What's the safety's name? Brian Cook,
Brian Cook, yeah, Brian
right?
Cook.
Is he playing?
Oh, he should be playing. Yeah,
Is
he
he
should
playing?
be
Okay.
healthy. Yeah, he should be ready to go.
He was
And
missing
so,
some time, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
he's been kind of up and down with injuries throughout his whole career. He is a hard hitting guy, and so I think sometimes he faces, you know, that comes what comes with it. But yeah, he's pretty good. I think he's probably our best safety at the moment. Hicks is starting to get the wheels under him. He can make big plays. I think sometimes he struggles to be in a good position, and
Yeah.
so they were kind of leaning on Hicks to kind of take over the Justin Reed role, the Honey Badger role that Kansas City likes to run. And I think there's been some growing pains. That typically comes with a Spagnuolo defense. You know, they're usually middle of the pack, sometimes towards the bottom in the beginning of the year, but they'll catch heat. They'll start picking up his defense and some of his blitzes and his complicated schemes. And usually around playoff time, they kind of hit full stride. So,
Nice. I was talking to James in our last video. Go check it out, everybody. In the last video, I was bringing up how Kansas City's 2-3, and if there's one thing it's an odd territory for them to be in right now. It's something that
yeah.
maybe just not really accustomed in the last like 8 years or so, give or take. And
Yeah.
at some point, a lot of teams when they're down, when they're like 1-4, or they're, when they're just, they don't want to go, or 0-5. The Jets are 0-5 right now. You know what I mean? Like they're playing whoever they're playing next week, and I'm sure they're gonna come up. They're in desperation mode. Not that
Yeah.
the Chiefs are 0-5 like the Jets, but what I'm saying is this is the game where it's Sunday night football against an NFC contender who knows not a powerhouse of the conference, but because I don't think there is a powerhouse in the NFC, but a team who contends every year and who makes the playoffs, who's in the tournament, and has a lot of success. I think this is a game where Kansas City is not in desperation mode, but they're going to pull out everything they have. Like Andy Reid's going to cook up some sort of plays,
It's
and that defense is going to be like Spags is going to come out here and he's going to give this Detroit offense kind of not everything he has, but something that we just haven't seen much lately. And I'm hoping, you know, I'm curious to see how that goes. Because Kansas
yeah.
City, with their backs against the wall, they're gonna have to start swinging at some point. And what better game for them to start swinging than Sunday Night Football? And
Yeah.
how does Detroit respond to that? And I think that's gonna really tell us where Detroit stands against an AFC not contender, a Super Bowl champion. You know what I mean? The Chiefs have been
Yeah.
on it. And if Detroit does really well against them, then we know two things that Detroit is can compete with some of the AFC powerhouses, and
Yeah.
Kansas City's in a now the reality will set in where then desperation mode does kick in. You're at 2-4, and it's trust me, we're 2-2-1. It's
Yeah.
odd
Yeah. It's a
territory to
steep
be
climb.
in.
Yeah.
Odd territory. And I think this is I have the Chiefs winning this game in our weekly predictions. Go check out our weekly picks video. Um so I'm on the Chiefs train this week.
Yeah.
Because I think when you put them in that position where they have to start swinging with everything they got, I think they're gonna show everyone in the league. They're still there. They're still those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you
And
just say you people?
no, yeah, it'll ultimately come down a lot to stopping the run, and Kansas City can do a good job sometimes of that.
Mhm.
And you stop the run, they struggle to get the play action going. I think they're just going to run play action without even running the ball. Kansas City's so bad against it. Just the threat of those two running backs is enough to not even run the ball once and still have the play action work. And
Yeah, and
so,
the Lions are really good at play action.
yep,
Yep,
They're
that's our that's our bread and butter right there is that play action. Mostly if we can establish the run. And I mean, you're going to respect it, the run in the first place with
Yeah,
Gibbs in the backfield, right? So
yeah,
you're exactly right. We could go out first drive, give it to Gibbs a couple times, and maybe you get us to let's say a 3rd and 3 situation where we're right there where it could either be a throw, it opens up the playbook, right?
yeah,
And you could easily see Jared Goff do a play action and it could go to Laporta and then Jamison Williams out on the outside, just a speedster out there.
yeah,
You know, I don't know if you guys have played any speedy wide receivers this season, but that's also another thing of the play action too is who's going to bite downhill. If a safety comes biting downhill,
yeah,
man, that could leave Williams out there just trying to beat that corner on speed.
yeah. Definitely, I think Jameson Williams will have a game for sure. I think if Kansas City's smart, Trent McDuffie doesn't really travel too much. He will travel, but in certain packages, he kind of goes to the slot or he has his spot. But I think McDuffie versus Amon Ra makes the most sense from the Chiefs' perspective. And so you leave Watson on someone like Williams, and that is a disaster waiting to happen. That is Calvin Johnson Thanksgiving type of game that Williams might put up.
It'll
It's
be
that big of a
interesting. I mean,
difference.
we haven't seen a big game out of Williams this year. He's had a couple good performances, but we drafted Williams thinking that he was going to be wide receiver one, and Amon Ra was going to fit into like that Golden Tate type of feel where he can be wide receiver one, but he's playing the slot so much because he's just a smaller wide receiver. But it's been kind of the opposite where we've really seen Amon Ra establish and get paid for being a wide receiver one.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely. It's wild because I was not even expecting him to have the year he's having, and he's a really good wide receiver. So that just speaks volumes to how well he's doing this year. That dude is incredible. And so, do you think it could be a system thing? Do you think you could take Amon Ra, maybe put him on another team, he has similar success, or do you think because of that play action game, he's just
I
wide
think I
open,
think
schemed open a lot?
I think Amon Ra overall is just a grinder,
Yeah,
right? He's goes out there and proves himself, and that's why he gets those targets.
yeah,
And he's so good at it, his hands are sticky, man. You throw it
yeah,
to him, he's gonna hang on to it. But I do believe what really helped him was when he came in his rookie year, because you got to remember he was drafted in like the fourth, fifth round,
yeah,
and he had a lot to prove. And he came in there, and that's how he proved himself was by hanging on to these tough catches and and learning the play system. And that's what helped too is we built the plays around him.
yeah,
So that's what helped. So I do think if he went to another team, uh there would be quite a bit of struggle
yeah,
at first, and it depends on the offensive coordinator and head coach to sit down and actually say, hey, we need to get Amon Ra the ball. How do we do that? A lot of it is off the play action and having a good established run game.
yeah. Definitely. And he just gets open, like scheming him open and get him in places where he can use his skill set to really thrive, man. Those two running backs do so much for that offense. It's so wild. It's just
Yeah.
a whole different dynamic from Kansas City, which is so crazy, you know.
Yeah, I think our biggest flaw going into this game is still relatively a new O line. The
Yeah.
interior offensive line, it's either a hit or miss. A lot of times they're really good. You'll have a really good game. They're not giving up pressures. They're hitting their assigned blocks. But then there's other times where you'll see a game and you're like, wow, the interior interior offensive line just isn't getting a push on the run, and they're giving up easy sacks to the defense. So I think if the Chiefs really wanted to target something on that on the Lions offense, it would be attacking that new interior offensive line.
Yeah, and it's almost kind of what Spags does really well. I don't think we can get home with four. I don't think so. But what Spags does really, really well is just bring everybody. You don't know who's coming and when they're coming. I guess you do know they're coming. Third down, Spagnolo's bringing fucking seven, so 7, 8, and so it's like it's just who's coming. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so
exactly. And a lot of that is once again, you need chemistry on the line to understand who you're picking up. If this person doesn't come, you shift down and whatnot, right?
yeah,
Well, with a new offensive line, that's a little, that could be a little hard.
yeah, to kind of get the communication down for sure. But Jared Goff is a smart guy, and he usually plays Kansas City really, really well. And so he's kind of got a little bit of a knack to kind of some of these quarterbacks are really good against Spags because they see a lot of his blitzes and stuff. And so I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, Jared Goff played really pretty good last year. And so against Kansas City. And so I think he has the ability to kind of point people, hey, you're getting this guy's coming, block this guy. And so it'll kind
Really,
of be a
really
chess
show
game
off
between those two.
that leadership.
Yeah. And so hopefully he can help those young guys inside kind of direct traffic a little bit about who they're picking up and stuff. And so, because once you pick up the blitz, it's already, everybody's open downfield. So whoever Trent
Right.
McDuffie's not on, but yeah. But yeah, those are just some of the notes for sure. I think one of the other things I had we kind of touched on a little bit was just Rashi Rice, man. I think everybody's waiting for his return. I kind of was doing a little bit of a stat breakdown, a little kind of sort of, but 3 games he played last year. He started 4, but he got hurt on the first drive. And the Chargers game last year, that's when Mahomes threw his entire body
Oh,
at Rashi Rice's
the Ford
kneecap.
F-150
The
moment.
Ford F-150 moment where he decided, let's just take out the number one guy. But he went 24 receptions on 29 targets, 288 yards, and 2 touchdowns in 3 games. So it
Wow.
averages out to 8 catches a game, 96 yards, and then 2 touchdowns during that time.
Yeah.
And so I think I speak for all of Chiefs Kingdom. We just can't wait to get this guy back, man. It's just going to be a whole new team, and I think that's going to help Kansas City so much, man. Getting that guy back, and we can start scheming with him. And ideally, you want Worthy taking the top off the defense, and Rashi Rice kind of just sitting in right behind it. But it's been tough. I think it's been a big reason why Kansas City struggled for sure.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Final predictions for the game, fellas. What we got? What we got?
So I got a 28-24, 28-21 kind of game. I think it
Okay.
will be a shootout. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be like both teams catch flame and then both teams just stall and it turns into a defensive matchup until I think the Lions come out like 28-24, 28-21. I have the Lions winning this one.
You got Detroit winning?
Yeah, I do. I think
Oh,
Kansas City will,
man.
without Rashi, I think they might drop a game. Um,
Okay.
But I do think once everything kind of comes back together and Kansas City can get right, I think they'll go on a run, and it'll be whether it'll be enough with 4 losses to kind of get into the playoffs and stuff. And so they've struggled early in the season before, so we'll see what happens. But I do have the Lions winning this one for sure.
Nice. James?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a different approach. I'm thinking it's gonna be 42-35. I'm thinking there's gonna be almost no defense played on both teams. And I think it's just because both teams do have talent on offense, and it's just too much for these defense.
Yeah,
And it's just gonna be a shootout till the end. It's gonna
yeah,
be whoever has ball at the very end, and I'm hoping it's Detroit. I'm gonna take Detroit.
yeah, yeah. Okay. What about you, Rocky? How you feeling? I know you kind of said Kansas City win earlier. We get a score prediction at all?
Yeah, I have Kansas City winning. Man, I think it's gonna be a tough game. I like the 28-24. You know what? We'll go this. We'll go 32-28 Kansas City.
Oh yeah,
I like
Kansas
that.
City.
That's a good one.
I like
Yeah,
that. Yeah. Well, guys, I appreciate you. Anyone who tuned in for this special episode or show of TTF. Zion, as always, thank you for joining us. So hope to
I
have you.
appreciate y'all having
We're
me.
we're
This is fun.
yeah, we're gonna have you back for Dallas, Kansas City
Oh
later
yeah,
on in the year.
yeah,
So
I'm excited for that.
we'll hopefully we'll have you back on the channel more soon prior of that as well.
Yeah.
And as always, guys, feel free to like, comment what you guys think for any Chiefs, Lions fans out there. Also, feel free to keep up with our weekly roundups on Tuesdays, weekly picks on Fridays. And James, anything you want to close us out with for the Chiefs and Lions game?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good game. Finally, the NFL scheduled a good Sunday night football game,
Yeah,
just based off the two brands alone.
Yeah.
without
I
a
mean,
tie,
we've
fingers
had
crossed.
good Sunday night football games, but I mean, this right here, if this isn't bringing eyes to Sunday night football, I don't know what will. This is going to be a great game. It's going to be awesome to watch. I can't wait to see who comes out on top. And mostly playing in Arrowhead, man, that's going to be an electric crowd there.
Oh yeah. All right,
Definitely.
well, guys, appreciate everyone. James,
Play us out.
yes, sir. Peace, guys.